From the world's laziest parents and pet owners to exercise haters with a vanity problem, alongside the most extreme ways to make sure you wake up on time, and some straight-up bizarre anti-effort inventions, these are people taking laziness to the next level. Simple tasks like switching the light off can be a massive chore if you're already in bed, but a few smart cookies have enlisted special help when it comes to nap time. Cats can't resist the glow of a laser pen, and as most felines are capable of quite a leap, all it takes is some careful aim and voila, your very own automatic light switch. It seems the demands of parenting all got a bit too much for this dad who came up with a creative solution to entertaining his child from the comfort of his own couch. It might be lazy, but it's definitely an efficient form of parent engineering.
I don't have a problem with it.
Instead of going all the way downstairs to grab a food delivery, these people saved themselves a tiny bit of energy when they thought of a hack so good they even got a round of applause. Now that's some ingenious laziness. I'm not sure if this photo is an example of next-level laziness or pure genius. No one wants to stand in line if there's a bench nearby, so this system of shoe queuing seems like a smart solution. These people in Thailand are living in the future. When you walk into a student dorm, you'll probably witness some pretty clever door-stopping techniques, from spoons to folded cardboard. I don't think there's many things that haven't been used to prop a door open. None of them, however, are as lazy or stupid as the person who couldn't be bothered to take a doorstop out of the packaging. Would it have really been so difficult? This next person decided to combine their need for efficiency with an obvious disregard for safety, because simultaneously babysitting and dog sitting can be very tiring. I hope the dog doesn't start running, or they'll have to put in some effort into cleaning a very dizzy baby's vomit. Landlords aren't exactly renowned for their diligence, but this takes the phrase landlord special to a new level, as one painted over bugs on the wall when they couldn't be bothered to remove them. They probably took an extortionate lump out of the deposit for it, too. And even the most straightforward tasks, like picking up a cup and taking a sip, have been made easier by the laziest among us. The guy in this photo may have created the ultimate straw, but his friend's facepalm tells you everything you need to know. Meanwhile, this girl's even slurping away while taking a nap. Lazy multitasking, I guess? If you're so lazy you can't even be bothered moving to put your shoes on, this idea might be for you. Instead of making the arduous trek all the way to another room to grab your shoes, have them personally delivered to you via your little brother's RC car like this person did instead. And all they have to do is find the energy to put them on. If you're friends with a self-confessed lazy person, then you'll be accustomed to their minimal effort. So it's best to keep expectations at a minimum even on your birthday. Take this birthday cake, for example.
It's unbelievable, Jeff!
I guess DIY is all the rage. Some people really go all out at Christmas with extravagant light displays like this. But instead of attempting to compete, the neighbor next door had the right idea by putting this cheeky sign up instead. Touché, dude. Building a snowman takes so much time, effort, and at least 3 snowballs. The person responsible for this was clearly too cold to roll snow, and they decided to throw some coal and a carrot on a lawn chair and call it a day. They weren't even feeling up to adding a scarf. It's so lazy, even the snowman is lying down. This woman was definitely the laziest person on her flight, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a great travel hack.
I like it a lot.
Here's another example of laziness, which somehow borders on pure genius. After all, why spend hours walking around in circles if you can just tie your lawnmower to a pole and watch it wind itself up? That is, of course, until it breaks free and begins a terrifying mowing spree down the street. These astonishing displays might be the most egregiously lazy things I've ever laid eyes on. Touching poop or roadkill isn't an ideal job for anyone, but painting over it really goes to the extreme of avoiding that. Credit where it's due, though. They are some pretty straight lines. Standing at the urinal was obviously a step too far for this guy, who pulled up a chair to relax while peeing. If only there was an object you could use to relieve yourself while sitting down. There's definitely nothing clever about this lazy person solution to extreme weather conditions. If you had to choose between shifting a bit of snow or risking a potentially fatal accident, which would it be? This next image somehow manages to combine frugality, efficiency, and a major lack of effort. Someone saved time and water by scrubbing plates in the tub. I just hope they didn't mistake their loofah for a dish sponge. Please remind me never to go to dinner at their house. They say a watched pot never boils, but is that still the case if you're watching it through Skype? This person obviously had more important things to do than wait 5 minutes for some eggs to boil. All this laziness is tiring me out. I could really do with a nap. Now, of course, when I wake up, I'm going to have to deal with making the bed or not. A Spanish design company called Ojea has invented the first bed that makes itself. The automated bed maker has a built-in roller to straighten the sheets and blankets, plus extendable arms to arrange the pillows. And don't worry, it also has safety detectors to prevent the bed from being made with a person in it. I mean, it's all well and good, but at this point, even pressing the button on the self-making bed might be too much effort. This is a classic case of a solution being created for a problem which never really existed. Instead of just moving the clock over slightly after this pole was erected in front of it, the hidden numbers have just been painted on top. So many questions.
It's time to stop!
Dogs. Man's best friend or man's laziest life hack? One lazy owner treated their dog like their own personal four-legged butler when they couldn't be bothered getting up to close their door.
Go close the door. Close it. Let's go to the tree.
Who's a good boy? The one saving your lazy butt from standing up, clearly. Driving without headlights is pretty illegal, but I doubt this solution would stop the perpetrator from being pulled over. Surely finding and mounting all those flashlights was more effort than buying a replacement headlight. I certainly don't think it's the brightest idea. The person that invented this lazy noodle fan obviously couldn't be bothered to use the same mouth they were about to eat the noodles with to cool them, because blowing on your food sure does make you breathless when you're that lazy. When you imagine the world's greatest thinkers, you might picture Aristotle or Plato, but I believe this Nerf gun owner should be added to the list. Who needs a smart home when you've got great aim, a Nerf gun, and zero motivation? There's laziness, and then there's just doing your job, which is exactly what this poor woman ended up without when she appeared on TV with no job title or even a name, all thanks to one lazy person who couldn't be bothered to input details correctly. Sometimes we just don't feel like doing anything. But that isn't always possible with commitments like work and school. Well, that didn't stop this man from crafting a decent enough excuse to get him a day off when he photoshopped his own car to look like it had a flat tire. Anyone who goes to such lengths deserves a break. You ever find yourself constantly having to reboot your computer? Tired of having to use multiple fingers to get your computer to shut down? Well, you need this tool. It presses all the keys required in one go. I'm sure whoever invented this is so much more relaxed now. Totally worth the effort of buying that, right? I hate waiting for toast to be toasted. All that movement you have to do getting up off the couch to go grab your toast. Why can't you just toast your toast on the couch? Well, clearly the inventor of this handheld device thought the same thing. All you have to do is put your device to the bread, and it toasts it for you. It probably just takes like 10 times longer. Staying hydrated is important, but getting out of bed, that's negotiable. One family took laziness to another level with their interesting use of a hamster water bottle. Because why put in any effort when you can just live like a rodent instead?
Never again. Are my kids waking me up in the middle of the night to ask for a drink?
Is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Somehow I doubt they'll be running on human-sized hamster wheels anytime soon. What an exceptional piece of modern art. You can just see the thought that's been put into it. I wonder what the deep underlying meaning is. Of course, laziness. When someone couldn't be bothered to cover a hole someone punched in their wall, they slapped a frame on it instead. Art critics call this installation experimental. I call it couldn't be bothered buying spackling paste. In all honesty, I don't think it looks that much different than real modern art. I like to lie down and read, but hate lifting your head so you can see your book better? No problem. There's a solution. One layabout invented these so-called lazy bastard reading glasses with an elevated mirror section so you can get an angle on your book while your head lies flat. See how easy it is to be lazy? I actually kind of like this one. Going grocery shopping is one of the boring necessities of adult life, and a big part of that is using the shopping cart responsibly. People who are responsible for this picture clearly aren't ready for that weight on their shoulders yet. But look, I get it. Walking like 4 feet that way is just so tiring. Cutting things with scissors can be such a hassle. You have to keep squeezing them, and half the time they pinch your hand. It's no wonder someone found a solution and created Whizzers, battery-powered cordless scissors that cut through the standard scissors items with little effort. There's no worse feeling than looking at all the washing up you have to do after finishing a delicious meal. Fortunately, this person's roommate came up with an interesting solution of throwing away their dirty dishes completely every time. The perfect example of having more money than sense. Over the course of their life, people sit on all sorts of things. Benches and chairs tend to be the main places you sit, and arms of couches also work when they need to. But for the lazy people in the world who've just been and bought a chair to sit on, there is the box it comes in. Removal men are usually hired to make your life easier, but sometimes even the professionals can't be bothered taking boxes down the stairs. Just look at the ingeniously lazy way these movers sped up the process. I'm guessing they weren't being paid by the hour. Hopefully there was nothing fragile inside. I've been spending so much time bed rotting and doom scrolling my fingers ache. Maybe I should take notes from this man, Dominic Wilcox, who invented a nose stylus when he wanted to use his phone in the bathtub without it getting wet. Pretty handy, for example, if you want to scroll and eat. But he's got to be careful not to be mistaken for a puppet with a habit for lying. There's definitely no denying the laziness of this man who couldn't even be bothered to leave his car for like 2 minutes to fill up. Probably more effort hanging out the window like that than just standing up, surely. Watermelon is a tasty snack, but who really has time to dispose of each seed when there are TV shows that need binging? Luckily, this woman thought up a weird but oddly smart solution. No need to fuss, just spit those pips directly into the bag. Who doesn't love to dunk their Oreos? Well, apparently some people who take laziness to a whole new level like the taste of milk-soaked cookies, but not the actual dipping part. And that's why this exists. The Oreo dipping wand allows you to leisurely dunk your Oreo without getting your fingers wet or jamming your hand in a glass.
What?
Totally unnecessary, but I'm glad it exists. This photograph is enough to tell me that some effort was made here, but I'm just not sure why. The fact that this man is even able to achieve such a feat is commendable because that chair doesn't look sturdy enough to survive even the smallest wave. This person really went the extra mile just to avoid walking one, because getting out of the car to walk their pet was obviously just too much effort. The dog's getting his steps in, but the human, not so much. This might be the laziest form of dog walking, until someone figures out how to do it with a drone. Welcome to Lazy City. We're so glad you came. While you're here, let me take you on a guided tour of our most notable places. On your left, we have this street. And if you continue sauntering past the lazy river, you'll see that street. Just wait, I've saved the best till last, because if you look over here, you can observe the other street in all its glory. As you can tell, we put a lot of work into developing the street names. Yeah, seriously, though, imagine a GPS giving directions through this place. Turn right on this street. Recalculating. Having a delayed flight is unbelievably frustrating, but I'd much rather wait a couple more hours than get on the plane this guy fixed.
You sure about that?
Unless that sticky tape is really strong, you better buckle up because I think it's going to be a pretty bumpy flight. Thankfully, it looks like it might be something known as speed tape, which is a water and flame-resistant, aluminum-based material often used to make temporary repairs on aircrafts. At least, let's hope that's what it is. Sending a physical letter in the post has become so old school that when it comes down to the whole thing, it just seems like far too much effort. And this person was too lazy to purchase a single stamp for their letter, so they just taped the cost on in its place, plus a tip. Unless you're a certified Stepford wife, no one really enjoys doing the dishes, so any method of reducing mess during mealtimes is welcome. But is this cereal solution really necessary? Sure, you're eliminating the bowl, but some of these in-the-packet cereal meals look like a mess waiting to happen. Kids always beg to push the cart when you take them shopping, an occurrence this do-nothing dad took advantage of. I'm sure with the immense strength of his mighty toddler, the weekly food shop only took an extra 12 hours. Some of us are early birds that love to wake up and seize the day, while others need a little extra motivation to get out of bed, like literally being catapulted out of it. Legendary YouTuber Colin Furs was clearly so sleepy he invented the high-voltage ejector bed that does exactly that, starting every day with a heart attack. I'm starting to envy early risers. Sometimes I want to slice a banana for my morning cereal, but I'm just not awake enough to trust myself with a knife. I assume that's why someone invented the handy banana slicer. Either that or someone's so lazy that they can't even be bothered to find a knife. And then there's the hot dog slicer. Since hot dogs aren't really breakfast food, it's comforting to know that the utter laziness can continue all day long. Life comes with its hard, strenuous tasks, operating heavy machinery, competing in high-intensity sports, and rolling up the blinds. The simple job was clearly too much effort for this person, who came up with a stress-free get-around. Because why waste an entire 10 seconds using your hand when you can wake the neighbors with your lazy DIY drill system? Sandwiches are one of the easiest foods to prepare. But if you're too lazy to even slice sandwiches, you may be in luck. They make sandwiches in a can. The canwich comes in 2 flavors of PB&J, strawberry, and grape. Oh, and barbecue chicken. Just pop the top and enjoy. Good God. Babies aren't exactly the most useful beings. With all their crying, taking care of one can get pretty tiring. However, whoever decided to put their baby to work managed to get some value out of their little one. Now this has got me thinking. Could we train a baby to vacuum, use the lawnmower, retile the roof? The possibilities are endless. Food shopping can be exhausting, and this woman clearly got a bit tired looking for barbecue meat when she decided the beef aisle was the best seat in the house. Negative points for laziness, and even more for a lack of hygiene.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
If you're too lazy to peel a banana, no problem, since the semi-automatic banana peeler will save you the labor of pulling back the skin. Yeah, it may take 10 minutes to peel and probably a similar amount of time to attach the tabs to each skin, but with the time it saves you peeling your long yellow fruit, you can grow a banana tree of your own and peel all the fruit from that. True gaming addicts never stop, and even the fundamental need to wash could not separate this gamer from his PlayStation. I wonder if Apple ever envisioned that FaceTime would be used for such purposes. Whoever is responsible for this should probably seek some medical advice on chronic laziness. Would it really be so exhausting to just peel off one tiny sticker before biting into the apple? Sometimes it's the kids among us that think of the most creative ways to put in as little effort as possible. While the technique this kid used to practice his H letters may get him an F for handwriting, he'd definitely receive an A+ for laziness. If you've ever shared an apartment with a bunch of guys in their early 20s, you've probably seen a sight much like this one. Man, just peak laziness. Takes me back to my college days. I can only imagine these empty toilet paper tubes will continue to pile up until the toilet disappears completely. The older generations seem to have a problem with Gen Z's lazy ways, and after seeing this picture, I think they might have a point. All joking aside, though, this is a pretty handy trick considering the number of times people drop their phones on their faces in bed. Why do anything that requires a slight struggle when you've got a perfectly good friend to do the hard work for you? This person decided walking up a hill was just too much effort, so they hitched a ride the lazy way. What are friends for if not to pull you along like a stubborn dog, right? Even standing up to brush your teeth becomes a chore when you fall into a dangerous pattern of total laziness. Once you take things to the extreme, like this man and his designated toothbrushing chair, I'm afraid to say, there's no going back. You'll have to look twice at this photo to realize that there's a lazy person behind it and not a clean freak. This smart roommate devised the perfect plan to avoid washing up for the rest of their life by just printing out an image of a clean sink and sticking it on top of the dirty dishes. I'm not sure it worked. I really hate to stir the pot, so I'm loving this new invention for people who don't want to stand over a hot stove. Sweating and stirring. This little gadget sits on the pan and stirs your food as it cooks. If there's one thing that most people hate doing, it's standing in long lines. But what if you didn't have to stand at all? This woman clearly thought she was onto something by bringing her own chair to the Burger King queue. But I can't help but think that the effort of constantly moving it might not be worth it. You ever have the awful problem where you really want to spread cold butter on your bread, but it's just so hard? No, that's okay, because someone has invented a knife that basically takes out all the work of using a knife. It's a fully rechargeable, melting, cutting, spreading, heated knife. Now, if only this thing could put itself back on the charger when it's done. Or, you could just let your butter warm up a while before you spread it. Some hacks are lazy, some are stupid, and this photo is the perfect example of both. I guess this man really couldn't be bothered building a bridge across the gap in this cliff, but I doubt his lazy tape get-around helped anyone avoid falling in. Or keeping the cliff together. I imagine whoever built this step around an old tree stump wanted a quick and easy way to get the job done. And to be honest, I think it's an excellent conversation piece, apart from when the log inevitably starts to rot away. Eating an ice cream is one thing I've never considered to be a high-effort task, but now I fear I might be alone on that one. It seems for this kid, rotating an ice cream cone was just too exhausting. Wow. What next? A self-spinning spaghetti fork? Oh, wait.
And now.
Dang it, these lazy folks really have thought of everything. It never occurred to me how much work goes into cracking an egg on the side of a bowl when cooking. Fortunately, someone invented a gadget to help with that. Check out the egg cracker, which takes all the work out of tapping an egg on a bowl, or so it claims. And then again, grabbing the device, loading the egg, squeezing the handle, and making sure the egg doesn't fall out, versus just hitting an egg on a bowl. I'm not so sure about this one, guys. This woman is definitely one cool mom, although I can't be sure how she's managing to segue one-handed while pushing a buggy. I fully applaud her for that. I often get tired while working in the office, and I wonder if I could sneak in a few Z's while my coworkers are busy, working. But what could I use for a pillow? Well, someone's invented a solution. It's a tie that inflates, so you can use it as a pillow. If anyone asks, I'm not sleeping. I'm just making sure that this inflatable pillow tie really works. For the video. There's no denying the laziness of the person who couldn't be bothered walking down the stairs to take the trash out, so they attached strings to the trash cans instead. I'm guessing the intended process is pull the string, open the lid, throw in the garbage from above. Let's hope there isn't a big gust of wind while they lower down the trash, because I don't think they'll have the energy to clean up the mess. Sleeping on the job is not ideal, especially when you're a security guard. But that didn't stop this man from coming up with an inventive way to get an extra 40 winks. The cardboard officer might be bigger and scarier, and he hasn't blinked in hours, which, if anything, makes him more terrifying. Professional tennis player Rafael Nadal made headlines in 2017 for this ridiculous act of laziness during the Wimbledon Championships. Yes, he really did beckon a ball boy over just to put his rubbish in a bin he was literally sat right next to. I like to imagine this guy was reclining in front of the TV when his mom asked him to go pick up some milk. So he just got up and took the whole chair with him. This contraption certainly beats walking, right? Do you ever have trouble getting food from a plate to the other side of the table? Hey, worry no longer. You'll never have to reach for a plate from the other side with this extremely long fork, because apparently leaning forward is where some people draw the line now. No chair, no problem. Look how this guy tackles workplace laziness using a bizarre contraption. Although he might be relaxed, I think this device will probably give him a bit of a reputation for being a weird coworker. For this indolent driver, removing snow off their car on a cold Monday morning clearly felt like such a punishment they decided to just not do it at all. While it definitely saved them some time, just one handbrake and they might experience an avalanche. I wonder how long it took students to realize that this lazy professor wasn't really sitting at his desk working every time they walked past. The classic tape a photo to your window illusion is so ingenious. I'd say he deserves the nap time presumably going on inside. Every dog needs exercise at some point in the day, and sometimes their pining for a walk doesn't match up with your own desire to go outside or even stand up. This image definitely proves that lazy people are smarter than we give them credit for. Why not let the dog walk you instead? For some people, bending down to pull up your socks can be hard work, especially if they're out of shape. Hey, no problem. Someone's invented a solution for that. The Sock Buddy. It'll yank your socks on for you, and you don't have to be able to touch your toes. Now you just need something that can tie your laces. Hey, wait a minute. Nike released the self-tying shoe. Unfortunately, the hyper-adept sneaker was discontinued in 2024. Maybe the demand for laziness isn't as high as we thought. Ordering takeout when you can't be bothered to cook is a standard thing to do, but this person took it to another level when they couldn't even be bothered putting on pants to receive their delivery. Because, obviously, it's far less effort to find a pen and paper, write a note telling the delivery guy that you're pantless and unable to answer, and leave it at the door. At least they left a tip. There's nothing like loafing on the couch, watching TV, and stuffing popcorn in your mouth. Some days, I think moving my hand from the popcorn bowl to my mouth counts as a workout. Apparently, someone else did too, because they invented this popcorn machine that automatically shoots the popcorn into your mouth. It's voice activated, so all you have to do is say the word pop, and it automatically shoots a piece of popcorn into your mouth. Now I can use my hands for more important things, like posting on social media or taking selfies. Who wants to start a petition to make every movie theater install one of these on the back of every seat? Going on a relaxing vacation is a lazy person's dream, but for some, finding the energy to even travel to their destination is difficult, because when you've mastered laziness, even walking is optional. This photograph brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, relaxing by the pool. This guy doesn't even need to get up to take a refreshing drink. This could also be a pretty smart way to sneak a few alcoholic beverages in before it's deemed socially acceptable. Occasionally, the solutions lazy people think up to solve life's simple problems end up needing more effort than the traditional route, and this is definitely one of those times. Instead of just walking outside to collect this dropped shirt, a dangerous rescue operation involving the vacuum was chosen. I wonder how that turned out. New fashion trend alert. This one's a real low-effort look. The retail worker responsible for this fashion statement either thought sleeves were overrated or simply didn't feel like trying to fit a mannequin's arms through the shirt. Did somebody say Met Gala? Pets are great companions, but sometimes they need attention, and whoever invented this clearly didn't have the time. The patented Pet Petter promises that if you buy it, you'll never have to touch your pets again. Well, I don't think I want to completely abandon them to this conveniently rechargeable device, but sometimes it'd be nice to have a stand-in. And the inventor of the automatic tennis ball launcher obviously just wanted to kick back in their recliner and do nothing instead of caring for their dog. Next thing, these lazy people will be replacing their dogs with stuffed animals. Putting your Christmas decorations up is pretty exciting, but taking them down during the post-festive slump is such a pain. This person saved themselves energy by not bothering to take the baubles off their tree, saving time for next year too. Maybe Santa should gift them a motivation coach. Oh, there's nothing like a nice cup of tea to warm you up on a cold day. This one just tastes a bit, peppery. The idea is lazy, but I must admit it's a creative solution when all the cups are dirty. Do you think they ate it after? This is definitely one way to get the grocery shopping done without having to walk around the store, but you'd have to have some hoverboard skills to avoid the potential disaster of crashing into an expensive wine display. This stupidly lazy moment is stupidly dangerous at the same time. A lorry driver pulled this crazy U-turn on the A3 highway near Guildford in England for no reason other than to save himself a bit of time after he ended up going the wrong way. Seems to me like this guy is a well-rounded idiot. Here's a smart way to get out of washing the dishes after dinner. Just wrap the plate in cling film and dispose of it afterwards. I wouldn't advise eating anything which requires too much cutting, though. Otherwise, you'll end up with a mouthful of plastic. I can commend some lazy people for their inventive ways of putting in as little effort as possible, but some are just downright infuriating. The person responsible for this couldn't even be bothered removing the empty toilet paper tube. Is it seriously that hard? Gamers are famously among the most inventive of lazy bones, but this time it's a bit of a throwback. This clever fella managed to get around the problem of having to get out of bed to play games and tipped the TV on the side so he could play from a sleeping position. I feel sorry for whoever has to put that monstrous TV upright again, though. This next person didn't just save themselves effort, but money too, when they came up with an interesting way of decorating for Christmas. It might be lazy, but it technically is the true meaning of Christmas. Merry birthday, Jesus! Unless you're a supremely organized person, you've probably allowed dirt washing to pile up over time, and this particularly lazy person decided to turn their clothes mountain into a permanent installation during the Christmas period. This image proves just how many of us are prone to laziness when given the option to take an easier route in life. The stairs are literally right there, but the mindless ease of the escalator is still enough to make people queue in huge crowds. Which would you take? Daylight savings can be a pain, especially if multiple clocks need changing. Whoever was asked to adjust this high school clock clearly thought it was easier to just stick a sign up asking pupils to figure it out for themselves. It takes a lot of grafting at the gym to achieve the perfect body, and while this lazy bones hasn't managed to lift weights yet, he has found the energy to lift makeup brushes to draw on his abs instead. You better make sure he doesn't get caught in the rain. Untangling Christmas lights is a difficult task, so why even bother at all? The Grinch who decided to put up their tangled lights clearly wasn't in the mood for fully committing to the festive spirit, but at least it makes putting them away easier. Christmas comes with a whole load of extra hassle, from present buying to home decorating. But this person has eliminated some of that stress with this simple Xmas tree solution. Whoever said those pine-scented car air fresheners couldn't double up as some of the saddest festive displays ever? There comes a point in every household where almost all the dishes need a good clean, but instead of just washing out a cup, this girl took matters into her own hands with a refreshing bag of iced water. This guy clearly had too much on his plate at work, and he decided he needed both of his hands free to talk on the phone, because holding a phone to your ear is just so embarrassing, but fashioning a headband out of the cord, far easier. Usually when children have to share a room with bunk beds, there's a fight over who gets the top bunk, so one of them can be king of the castle. However, with the help of a couple of coat hangers, the bottom bunk becomes prime real estate, offering the ultimate lazy screen viewing experience. Festivals and concerts can really take it out of you, especially if you're standing outside in the sun all day. But take a look at this man who found a way to enjoy the show while lying down. With a GoPro synced up to a live feed on his phone, this guy can watch the performance lying down, until his arm gets tired, that is. This clock doesn't tick, it quits. I doubt the inventor of this clock is ever on time for anything. They're probably busy taking their 5th nap of the day, etc. If you had a fire in your house, you'd call the fire brigade and get that fire put out. I'm sure it wouldn't fill you with confidence if the person that has come to put out the fire puts in the same amount of effort that you did to ensure your house didn't go up in flames. If you're so prone to laziness that even preparing toast seems like too much effort, then worry no more. The answer is here. I'm not sure how appealing this prepackaged toast sounds, but there's even a buttered version for extra convenience. At this point, they may as well just eat it for me, too. Hello and welcome to the Bare Minimum Show, the only competition where doing as little as possible wins. I'm your host, David Doolittle, and I've got 3 of the laziest candidates here for your entertainment. They're sluggish, they're slow, and it took a great deal of convincing to get them here tonight. Who will take the title of the Laziest Layabout. First up, we have the inventor of this gadget, a true innovator. Who doesn't want to have sexy six-pack abs? I know I do, but let's be honest, crunches are hard. And that's where this genius comes in. Thanks to the inventor of the Ab-Hancer, you can now buy this plastic thing, put it on under your shirt, and stun the world with your awesome six-pack. You'll be in great shape just as long as no one sees you with your shirt off. Next, meet this pioneer of the low-effort lifestyle. Gone are the days of the Bluetooth earphone when you've got a brain like this guy. He just dangled the phone over his ear using the charger and got himself on hands-free. The greatest invention if you've got a long day of taking phone calls ahead of you. It's bold, it's pointless. It's exactly the kind of ingenuity we reward. And finally, let's give a half-hearted round of applause to our last contestant. When it comes to Halloween decorations, some people really go all out. And then there's the person who did this. Behold, the tiny face pumpkin. Ah! I'm quaking in fear. After that underwhelming display of effort, it's time for the big moment. Only one of these gloriously inactive contestants can be crowned the laziest. Drum roll, please. And the winner is... I can't be bothered deciding. What else is on? Hey, if you're craving more lazy solutions, check out this video about the most hilariously ingenious redneck engineering. It's a funny one. Thanks for watching.